Namaste, everyone. Happy new day. Thank you for hearing the call and joining us in this divine appointment. This is Sophia and Pamela's here.
Good day. Happy to be here today in this lovely,
Yes.
blissful morning, or lovely, blissful new day.
Yes. Come, join us under this magnificent walnut tree in what we call Pamela's Backyard Garden Zoo. Yeah, can you imagine holding hands with everyone across the world as we unified as a force for good, as we activate a new way of being, a new way of expressing in the world? This new way is the way of our true nature, embodied as our true authentic self, unrestrained and unencumbered by past experiences where we learned lack, limitation, and bought into fear. Just sit with that for a moment. Instead, experiencing life freely by and through the freedom of love under grace with awareness, consciously aware of where we're programming ourselves with that lack and limitation, so that we can actually open space within our beingness to allow that infinite energy, that infinitely intelligent energy that holds everything within it, that we call sometimes unconditional love, unconditional love, unconditional love, purified love. But that energy frequency has everything in it. It has the sacred geometry, it has mathematics, it has that feeling
Quantum
of
healing.
it. Yes, and it does have that programmed into it because it is that, right?
That's
It's
right.
just, it's intelligent energy that created this world, and that created us in our mother's belly, or created, if you were created in a laboratory, or because there are some people that have done that, right? So we don't want to limit anything. Know that that infinite intelligence runs through your experience, runs through your body, and your body is that thought actualized.
Yes, and just imagine if you are sitting here and just breathing in a deep inhalation. And with every breath, every molecule of moisture that comes in, every atom, everything that you're breathing in has that infinite intelligence.
Because it
It
already
is.
is. Yes, every particle.
So it's going in your body through every vein as the oxygenation is carried through your blood into every organ, into every skin tissue, into every muscle, into every. I mean, let's really look at this human design.
I know.
Isn't that
Yes,
spectacularly
it is.
phenomenal?
Even though we're electromagnetic, biological, chemical being, we're not limited, but we've allowed ourselves to limit that expression
And
of our
we're
body.
energy. It's all energy.
Yes, and the
Frequency.
body is our truth meter. It is the interface between heaven and earth, because it will never lie to us. It is always showing us what we're thinking.
Yes.
In every moment, it is showing us what we're thinking. And if there's something happening, a disease in the body, what we've diagnosed as, that is created from a thought that we are thinking,
Or held on to, or recognize
Yes.
it's the truth of us,
Yes.
but it really is not.
No, it's a thought that we have bought into, a limitation. When we're in a state of lack and limitation, we buy into a thought, and that thought has an emotion, right? So when we have an experience that teaches us that an emotion that is what we might call negative, but it's just a lower dimension, density thought, and which creates that emotion and that feeling, and the body responds to that. It has no other choice, and it doesn't discern. It just says, okay,
Yes,
Like
and
it just is.
fear is a huge instigator of all of that, isn't it?
Exactly.
Of all of that
Exactly.
that comes. It can certainly be that it comes from thought actualized, obviously, but yeah, that fear is a huge
Yeah. And fear comes in.
carrier of
Fear is
this.
anger, resentment, shame, blame, guilt,
Everything
abandonment,
comes from fear, doesn't it?
everything in that lower, that
Yeah.
jealousy. It's
Mm-hmm.
all, yeah, it's all
Fear-based.
fear based. Yes, because when we have an experience and we develop a story that puts us into judgment and separates us from the truth of who we really are, then we're operating, that's an alter ego, that's a disassociated aspect of ourself.
Right.
And we might have a lot of these aspects running, right?
Sure we
In
do.
our field. And
Sure.
it's up to us to recognize. And so as soon as we make the conscious choice to say, I'm going to start to be aware as to what
What's
aspect of myself
Mm-hmm.
is running the show, running my life. And it's only after that that we can actually align with the soul and allow the soul to guide us through, and just become aware of those those thoughts that are and there could be contradictory thoughts even, right? Because the real magic happens when we're clear of those thoughts,
Yeah.
where the thoughts that are coming through are inspired from that infinite intelligence instead of from what we're experiencing in the physical reality, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those spaces again where we go, oh, it's the fine line. It's the fine line between that and the net and the the higher frequency and the lower frequency. It's the space, in between where everything happens and then everything responds.
Well, and
after that.
when we're in our center, we're neutral.
That's
and
right.
We're just in our awareness, and we just can observe and say, okay, this isn't
That's
serving
right.
me. I can
That's
move
right.
it back into
It's not that
neutrality.
any of the world and everything around us doesn't happen. It's just we're in a different perspective, and we're not receiving it as ours or as something we are accepting. We're just recognizing it. We're acknowledging it. We can, like I always like to say, thank you for sharing. Doesn't mean I accept what you're saying or what you're doing or what is happening in my, reality, but it's thank you for sharing, and it allows me to become more aware. And then we move into that which we desire to create in our thoughts.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Starting with
being
our
diligent
thoughts.
with our thoughts, and because, like, after I had the life of Buddha, remember, I saw everything from the highest perspective of love.
Right.
But then I noticed, and it goes, oh my gosh, I was doing all of this from a lack of awareness. And I went into judgment with myself and into shame, blame, and guilt for myself.
Yes, I do remember.
And I didn't blame
anyone else.
No, I was, but that just sucked me in to that. And so everything started reflecting that to me. And so I know that how the timelines work is I can go to that point where I made that choice and say, oh, I wonder what it would have been like had I maintained, what would the last 23 years look like for me had I maintained that higher awareness.
That's right.
And just taken steps to resolve whatever situation I was in.
With the new information
that you have now.
And so that's what we do, basically, in our sessions, is we can go right back to that. If you're aware of it within yourself, you can set the intention to address that issue in today's session or any session when you're ready. And not you in particular, but well, you as well.
Yes,
and
of
all
course,
of us.
Of course.
And so, that's the beauty of this particular
because I think
process.
we jump timelines all the time, right? And because we've already been inspired by the higher self, like the soul or infinite intelligence dropped that information into us, because in 1993, when I was given that vision of my future, and I was like, uh, it was so far removed from where I was at, and I had no comprehension of anything that we're talking about right now about,
Yes.
as I was just like, I had no idea. But we know that we can't have a precognitive vision of something that doesn't happen, and so it's me that can align with
Aligns
that,
with it, right?
with that timeline, with that vision, right? And we don't know how it's going to happen, but we know that everything is just energy particles.
We do know
right?
how it's going to happen.
Yes, we just,
because we need what has to happen is for us to be aware and open and allow. And in these sessions, that's where, for example, using your example, because everybody's aware of what you said, in relation to when you went into shame, blame, and guilt within yourself, and then allowed that to take over unknowingly, of course. So in a session like today, you could literally have the intention to go back in time, space, because there is no time space, but go back into that moment, recognizing it for what it is, and walk through the process with us when we do the process. So you can correct that. So you can give yourself the tools and the knowledge, the information, the awareness, the openness, the trust, the flow, to be in a space where you are reviving. What was, how did you rename our
revised frequency?
Yes, so you are reviving
I'm revising
your frequency, revising your frequency, and reset.
Yes.
And the autonomic nervous system will take,
well, all the particles
yes,
in our field of consciousness, because consciousness creates, it will, it can't not, right?
Yes. And then from this
It's
moment forward, your whole being is awakened to whatever it is that you just treated for.
Yes, exactly.
So then when things come up again where it's another sort of trigger, or it could have been another trigger or another experience that reminded you of that shame, blame, or guilt, or triggered that in your autonomic nervous system or in your brain's frequency template,
I think that
it can reset.
Yeah, well, I think once we are free from, like, once our higher self comes in and resets that frequency energy, we've already saw how it's we become detached from that.
Yes.
And it no longer has a trigger like that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for clarifying, because that is exactly what happens.
Yeah. And I've seen it over and over and over again in all the sessions that I've done over the years, right? How everybody, like, it's like it's just that quick. It doesn't take time, and it changes because we get new neural pathways instantly.
Correct. Like last night, Sophia and I injured my back lifting something, and I was like on my back on the couch, and she came up and said, "Oh, are you still in, having the pain?" I said, "Yeah." So she said, "Okay, let's do a little session." So we do our little session. And bing, it's instantaneously the pain is gone. Like literally, the pain is 100% gone. Yeah. And because we have faith and trust and we actually know that it works. That it works, because even Anita, because we see how Anita showed us that our body, we went down the rabbit hole in those, in that process. We open, like we are doing now. We work through those layers of where exactly am I, what exactly am I holding on to that allowed the injury to happen? Because the person, place, or event, right? That's right. Events that, because technically, if I wasn't holding on to anything, it would have not even happened to my body. Even though I lifted wrong or incorrect, it wouldn't have happened, because my whole energy system would have been completely out of alignment with injury. Exactly. It's like, oh, why did I have that broken ankle there? Why was it the left
ankle and not the right ankle. Like, it's like,
Well,
it's
there's a
so
reason for everything,
interesting.
as we know.
There's a thread
Yes.
that goes through the experiences and takes us as soon as we have an experience, and if we don't actually free it from our field, it keeps manifesting in different ways, showing us different experiences. And so, everything that is, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate whatever is limiting us, and whatever is held in our field, whatever experience we had that affected our physical expression and limited, that's holding us from being just
our
free,
pure authentic self in expression in every moment.
And we're just going to do the access consciousness clearing statement. Everything that is right, wrong, good, bad, pot and pock, all infinite shorts, boys and beyonds, times a gazillion. By the power of 3 times 3 times 3, I make it so, I make it so, I make it so, and so it is. It is done. So be it. Just breathe and just allow, and just notice what you notice, and just see if you can feel the spinning, the energy spinning through.
And perhaps we could do the other one as well, where we, all curses, all spells.
Yeah, and because we're not always aware of the thoughts that we're thinking and the words that we're speaking, and when we think of other people, even the impact that has, because when we're in lack and limitation, right? Rather than seeing them from the highest perspective of love, from that infinite intelligence field. So I have this clearing statement that I do. From the Lord God, Goddess of my being, from the I am that I am, from the soul's well-being, I cancel, revoke, rebuke, transcend and transmute all curses, all spells, all black magic that I might have unwittingly cast upon myself and or others, and what others might have unwittingly and or willfully cast upon me. And sometimes we can even get a flash of insight, and we just say, I love myself in that. Right? I accept that I was in a state of lack of awareness, and from that higher, I choose to go to the highest perspective of the infinite intelligence, where there is no right or wrong, good or bad. It just is information and just love, because that infinite intelligence completely comprehends our human experience. And where we fell out of grace, I could say, where we bought into that third dimensional illusion of separation and went into survival. And because of the very design of the human expression, we get caught up in I would say a loop of self-abuse, really, but we don't see it, right? As soon as we go into victimization, we self-abuse, because we hold on to that story and hold on to lack and limitation, instead of raising our frequency to the highest perspective of love, giving ourselves grace, and realizing that everything that we are experiencing is actually fulfilling us in our desire to be free. For me, that's how I had perceived it after I had the life review.
And something else I want to remind our listeners of is that all of this sounds like so, when you go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, it all seems so overwhelming, daunting, or so like, oh my gosh, look what I've done to myself. Like what happened to you, Sophia,
Yes,
in her moment of awakening and recognizing, what she was doing in her job, in her everyday job, her work, how it went against the flow of everything she believed and thought was real.
Yes.
So what I want to remind everyone of is when we do this process, even just really, just focusing on one aspect of experience that you might have had is like a chain of pearls.
Yes.
And our process is really good at getting to that very bottom
Yeah,
knot
and snipping.
that's holding all those pearls into place, all those hundreds and millions of experiences. And then it snips that bottom knot, and
Yeah,
all the
those
pearls fall off
away.
and transcend into, into bliss and
Enjoy.
into the truth,
Yes.
into the truth of even just recognizing it.
Yes.
It's like the Wizard of Oz when they lifted the curtain, and they saw where it was all coming from, and it's just a little guy. Everybody woke up and was like, "What?"
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh my goodness.
And I know that sounds really simplistic in a sense, and to a very, what can be overwhelming or daunting realization in this moment when you're sitting here listening to, and then intrinsically processing that to all the things we do in a day that keep us locked into the lower frequency density thought and thinking. Roller coaster, as I call it, the hamster ride, the hamster wheel.
Yes. And so, yeah, like once we set the intention, like your higher self will come in and tap you on the shoulder. And it will say, just take a moment.
Yeah.
If you're feeling overwhelmed or sad, or it's up to us to even take 5 or 10 minutes. And I found that that's all I really need is to just go and climb into I like my cozy little bed, and I like to climb into bed and just relax into and just let it all go, like in that moment, and everything
and
reset, and it will. You'll get like just to reset that thinking rather than allowing those thoughts to manifest or
to run your world,
yes,
to run your experience. Like, you'll find that the more you do this process, which was how I was going to tie that all up, was the more you do the process, the more active your mind awakens to the awareness, and that then in those moments when it's needed, when you start to go into the automatic pilot mode, your awareness, your higher self that is attuned to what you are wanting, taps you on the shoulder, like you said, or
hey,
just gracefully
says,
wait a minute, hold on, don't let yourself get into that, shame, blame, guilt, or that frustration of that, or don't, you're yelling, you've upped your tempo, or you've upped your vibration by about 20,000. Like, just like,
are you sure you want to think those thoughts?
Are you sure you want to go there? Is it worth it? It can't stop you, but it can, we hear that little voice.
Yes.
I remember when I was in menopause and, having hormonal things, and I would start to escalate. It was like a meter. I could see it going up, and I'd be like,
this isn't me. What the
like, who is that? Stop it, Pam. Like, who is that person? Yeah, and it was the, fractured aspects of myself being, opened like a floodgate with hormonal release.
And just wanting to be expressed. Well, that's the thing too, is we put the lid on it. We keep putting the lid on it. We just keep.
And there becomes cracks in the volcano.
And then all of a sudden, something happens, and that aspect comes out.
Yeah, so it's always nice to have that little pressure relief valve.
Yeah, I found, what, when I first had all of this happening for me, I actually went out and just yelled at a tree, and and because nature is unconditional. Because when you actually talk to another person, they want to try and fix you. Like that's what I noticed, right? They might want to say something. I just want to get it all out. just let me. So I found it so easy. And then I also got out a piece of paper, and I just imagined all that stuff, all the stuff that's going and running in my field, just flowing out down my arm, through my hand, through a pen, and put it on a piece of paper. And like if I could tell you this, and then I scrunched it up and I burned it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what, just doing that,
That's
it was
very
like that
empowering.
was letting go of the valve, like letting everything that I had
pressure
bottled
valve, yeah.
up, you know, that I put towards myself, right? Because some people, they're awesome, right? They don't actually hold on to it. They express it, but they express it out, and sometimes it's directed towards somebody else.
Yeah,
And I
which is
didn't, and
not
I
what we
saw
want to
that,
do
and I
either.
didn't want to do that either,
Yeah.
right? So I just, yeah, come out and express it to a tree that just holds space for me. And because I have this beautiful relationship with nature, and to see the beauty in it. And
get your kids a little punching bag like that one right there.
Yes, that too, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So our vision is to activate this world that has risen above the world of lack and limitation and fear to a world of awareness and flow where everyone and everything is aligned to its true nature. Can you imagine a world where each of us is no longer creating from lack and limitation, where everyone has insight and foresight regarding what they are creating in every moment, in every given moment? Can you imagine a world where every man and woman, regardless of age, is set free from the limitations of their wounding, set free from what is programmed and active in his/her carnal, conditioned, intellectual mind? That's where we bridge heaven and earth, right? Bringing heaven and activating it into our world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we invite you.
Yes, and so
to come.
Yeah, come, and if you would like to do this process with us, find a comfortable place to sit or lie down. And while you're sitting and lying down, Pam's going to play the singing bowls for us. So beautiful. Thank you.
Let's get our vibrations in the right alignment.
Yes, yes. So we're going to set the deliberate intention of activating a world made manifest from the highest living frequency, where people are empowered to their true nature. A world where you are realized to the highest expression of all that you are. Where you are expressing your true authentic self, living the dream in your heart, placed there by you for you. Are you ready, willing, and able to say yes to realizing this dream? Yes. You might have been given clues as to an insight or vision of what you see as your future, moving from being influenced by the reasoning, conditioned intellectual mind and fear, to that of being guided by a purified heart and the intelligence that created the natural world and that inspires the seed to fulfill its full destiny, to fulfill its potential. And destiny is that which you are destined to fulfill. And so we know that when we broadcast it, what we broadcast into the field from a coherent heart and a clear vision with the emotion of joy and feeling of peace is your destiny. And so I'm asking you, will you say yes to impressing the unconscious, the subconscious, with the ideas that are beneficial to a fulfilled life?
Yes.
Yes. So my ways are the ways of pleasantness, playful curiosity, grace, ease, lightheartedness, and joyful expectancy, like I was as a child. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm just going to invite us to put our awareness on the breath. The breath is here in this moment now. This moment now is all that really is that we are aware of. It's true in this moment. And I'm just going to set the energetic intention of activating the Taurus breath. The Taurus breath is the oneness breath. A Taurus is a donut shape, and it's an energetic field that flows in that. It's a multidimensional breath that flows in the form of a donut. So what we are doing is taking the information from the external world and breathing it into every fiber of our being, into our internal world. And then we're taking our internal world and going right to the 0 point field, the void, the launching pad of creation, where awareness becomes aware of itself and desires to know itself through its manifestations. And then becoming aware of the thought field. All thoughts are light. And this infinite field of liquid living light. And breathing that. And then becoming aware of your unique energy signature, the tonality of you, with all of your gifts and attributes, everything that makes you uniquely you, your unique energy signature, your ego, your spirit, ego, mind, personality, that original template of love that is you. Along with that spark, that dream, your destiny, that which you are destined to fulfill, and we bring that up and breathe it out into our external world, breathing that out into our field of consciousness, setting the energetic intention of shifting from lack and limitation to flow, infinite flow, where all that is yours as the beneficiary, all your substantive rights are acknowledged and realized, made manifest. Ooh. So we know it's all about feelings. And so I'm just going to ask, is there any event that is interfering, that is keeping you in lack and limitation? What is the predominant event, person, place, or event that pulled you into lack or limitation? And everything that is, Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate the thoughts and frequency that drew that event to you?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good,
Good,
bad, pot and pock, all infinite shorts, boys and beyonds, times a gazillion. By the power of 3 times 3 times 3, I make it so, I make it so, I make it so, and so it is done, so be it. Just breathe, open, soften, and allow. And just say, I love myself when I think of that. And just notice what you notice. I love myself when I think of that. I love myself when I reminded myself of that. Because your unconscious or subconscious will always show you what is running in your unconscious that is keeping you in your present state, mental, emotional state, and state of consciousness. And we can say thank you for that awareness. It's always been here to show us what it is we're holding onto that is keeping us from being free in the totality of who and what we truly are, in wholeness and wholesomeness, and a joyful life experience. And I'm just going to remind everybody that as your memories come up, just treat it like a movie reel, where those pictures just flash in your mind's eye, and the film of that movie just drops on the floor, and we just sweep it into the fires of the central sun, or sometimes you'll just see it zipping off into nothingness. And we're just setting the energetic intention that you're free from any quantum entanglement, any attachment to that event, people, places, and our event. And releasing all your senses from that event as well. Because sometimes when we have an event, there might be a smell or a taste that is associated with that event, and we might walk in somewhere and get that smell. Go smell that had that event, that where we smell bread and it brings us back, the bread baking in the oven, it brings us back to walking into our grandmother's kitchen or something, right? But that same mechanism works with when we have a violent event in our life, where we're trespassed on, or we feel like where somebody has overpowered us. And everything that is. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot and pock, all infinite shorts, boys and beyonds, times a gazillion. By the power of 3 times 3 times 3, I make it so, I make it so, I make it so, and so it is done, so be it. Breathe and allow. And so when I asked you, what is the predominant event that is keeping you in lack and limitation? I'm just going to invite you to say, if there was a person that popped up, or many people, you can say, I love myself when I think of, and then say their name. And just notice what happens when you do that. I love myself when I think of, and then say their name. I love myself when I think of, and then say their name. You can add harming me to it. I love myself when I think of and then say their name, being abused. I love myself when I think of and then say their name, being abused. I love myself when I think of and then say their name, being abused. I love myself when I think of, say their name, in their lack of integrity. Oh, that was a good one. I love myself when I think of and then say their name, lack of integrity. I love myself when I think of and then say their name, lack of integrity. Breathe, soften, and everything that is. Would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot and pock, all infinite shorts, boys and beyonds, times a gazillion, by the power of 3 times 3 times 3, I make it so, I make it so, I make it so, and so it is done, so be it. From the Lord God, Goddess of my being, from the I am that I am, from the soul's well-being, I cancel, revoke, rebuke, transcend and transmute all curses, all spells, all black magic, that I might have unwittingly cast upon myself and or others, and what others might have unwittingly cast upon me. Because I just realized in that moment I was separating myself in judgment. That's huge, isn't it? So I just recognized where I myself was keeping myself in lack and limitation from this very process. Oh, I love it. Oh, thank you. So this is a huge epiphany, how we keep ourselves. From truly being in alignment with the truth and whom what we are. Now I'm just going to invite everybody just to think about what is it that the higher intelligence, what is it that you as the soul, prior to coming into physical manifestation as the spirit of you, had in mind for you? What is it? Can we purify our own heart to broadcast into the field, to actually see it made manifest, realized, self-realized? I'm going to invite you to put your arms out to your sides with your hands stretching out. And with the left hand, we're going to go all the way to the 0 point field, the void, in the launching pad of creation, where awareness became aware of itself. There is no thoughts. There's no thoughts, no diagnoses, no identities. Just awareness. Now we're going to become aware of the thoughts and that infinite field of living light, what we call the Akashic Records. All thought and all thought potentiality exists in that field. And now we're becoming aware of your unique energy signature as the spirit of you, your spirit, ego, mind, personality, and all of your gifts and attributes. And that destiny, that which you are destined to fulfill, your desired reality, inspired from the soul. And some people are calling it a soul contract, but it's just a contract with yourself. It's an agreement that you made with yourself. And we're going to put that into the palm of our left hand. And now we're going to reach out into the future with our right hand, into eternity. And that which you are destined to fulfill. And the truth of who you really are in your true, authentic self. We're going to put that in the palm of your right hand. We're going to feel what that feels like. What would it feel like to fulfill your destiny, to fill yourself in joy? And I'm going to invite you just to move your hands up until your hands are above your head. And once you get them above your head, just clap them together in the prayer position and just bring your hands down in front of you into this present moment. Until your hands are right in front of the thymus gland. And the thymus gland is a master gland, but it's between the throat and the heart. It's the master gland for the immune system. It's also the seat of the soul, the high heart, your spiritual heart. And we're going to tap it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And as we tapped and activated it, it sent a wave of electrical energy, light energy, to every cell of your body, to the mitochondrial DNA and the mitochondria and the mitochondrial DNA. Mitochondria are energy centers. We're just going to invite us to set the energetic intention of every breath that we breathe, as we breathe the Taurus breath. That energy center is activated and energized with each breath. So we're energizing the body from the inside out and the outside in, through every cell of your being. And now I'm going to invite you to take your hands and do the Dove Mudra and just wiggle your fingers, or just put one hand over the other and just put it over the thymus gland. And there's energy, light frequency, photons coming out of your hand and going into your body. It's like giving yourself a hug. And just remembering those times when you felt that love from others, or that love that you felt from your loved ones that are in non-physical, the love that your soul has for you, if you've ever had an altered state of consciousness and went into yourself, like a near-death experience, or just a spontaneous awakening. So I'm just going to call up all memories where we had a third eye, a heart awakening, a kundalini awakening, or where we were in ecstatic dance and let go of the intellectual mind and let that energy flow. It could have been through breath work or color therapy, aromatherapy, or like I said, a near-death experience. That feeling of love. And just breathing into this moment. And now we're going to again drop into the 0-point field. And we're going to rest there for a little bit. Just rest in the nothingness. Just giving the body a break. Just letting go of the cells of our body and going into the void. Now become aware of the light field, all thought potential, all potentiality. And become aware of your unique energy signature, your original template. All your gifts and attributes that are ready to be expressed freely, unencumbered, unrestrained by any limited thinking. Say yes to that. And I'm just going to invite you to just set the vision, remembering your destiny, your desired reality, that which you are destined to fulfill from your soul's intelligence. And what does that feel like? Can you imagine being in complete awe with life, being in joy, where the moment is just flowing, and every moment is exciting. You're fulfilling yourself to the highest excitement. Totally and completely in love with your life, in love with the experience of life. Now just become aware of your body, fully and completely anchoring it, anchoring that frequency, energy, intelligence, everything that you know to be true, into every particle in your field of experience. And just anchoring that into the Earth's atmosphere. And before you open your eyes, I'm going to invite you to anchor this into your autonomic nervous system by taking your middle finger and your index finger and then just pointing them towards your thumb and tapping the tips of your fingers 3 times with your thumb. 1, 2, 3, squeeze, locking it in. Now take your tongue and just tap the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth, locking it in. And so we can make the conscious choice of coming into alignment with the heart of creation, coming into alignment with all aspects of our multidimensional self, and setting the energetic intention of being in the flow of that. And we can instruct the field, the infinite intelligence, the superconscious, the mighty I am presence, the Christ within, by saying, what experience do you have for me today that will fulfill me in my highest expression of joy? You can say, superconscious, divine spirit within me, move me this day to my highest good. Move my mind, move my speech, move my body. Move me in the direction of my highest good, and move everyone and everything in my field of experience to my highest good and theirs. And just allow yourself to move through the day in that divine inspiration, under the guidance and in the flow. And remember, the past is the past, and every moment is a new beginning. This moment is a new beginning. This day is a new day. This day is a day of miracles, and I give thanks for this new day of miracles. Miracles shall follow miracles, and wonders shall never cease. That was just a family of quails that was in the garden that all decided to fly up into the tree at once. It's so beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm just going to see. And if you think of a friend or family member that might find benefit from listening to this video, I invite you to share it out. So we're just going to bring up the feeling of grief. And just say, I love myself in this grief. Thank you, Donna. And just drop into the heart. And know that, and just say, I love myself in this grief. And notice what you notice. I love myself in the feeling of grief. And you can actually ask yourself, how is this grief serving me? How is this grief serving me? What is the source of the grief? And what would it take to actually bring that grace and compassion and understanding into that? And just sitting with that. If that grief had a story, what would it be showing you? And if it took you to an event or something that isn't complete within yourself, just say, I love myself in this. I love myself in that. I love myself in that. And we can always talk privately too, Donna. I trust that that was helpful.
Yes, beautiful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And have a wonderful day, everyone. Remember to allow the flow.
Mm-hmm.
The flow of that infinite intelligence. to we can ride the wave of that. We ourselves don't have to figure it out because that infinite intelligence that is us has all the information, it down to the minutest detail. And it wants to fulfill us. It wants itself to be fulfilled in joy.
Yes. And if there perhaps is something that you feel you need assistance with, Sophia and I are here.
Yes.
And if you have something that you've been doing our sessions with and it seems to not be transcending, then certainly connect with us on a private level, and we're happy to assist you in whatever is coming up, because sometimes it just takes one focused session with us and people can move forward. We've seen that time and time again. So yeah, we're happy to assist anyone. So just drop us a message.
Yes. We're here in service and to bring forth that new world
design.
The new
desire.
Desire. Yes.
The way it was meant to be originally, the template of love that we are in expression in every moment.
Exactly. And we have gotten into this habit of thinking that, or we've been conditioned to think that we have to figure it out. And so when we find ourselves doing that, we can say to ourselves, I know that I know that I don't know, but there's an aspect of me that does know, and it is guiding me to that resolution. And we just surrender to that heart's knowing.
Right.
I love you all very much. Have a beautiful day.
Happy New Day.
Happy New Day.
Namaste.